I'm gonna tell you a true story about how my friend Katie started dating her boyfriend John. So Katie not known John at all really before she started dating him. She'd only talked to him once in her AP English class and about an assignment. But the next semester, John transferred out of her class, so she didn't really talk to him after that. But getting to the story, it was the second week in February, and um, Katie's friend Trinity came up to her and told her that John had been looking for her and they wanted to ask her a question. And so Katie was thinking to herself, well, what could he possibly want to ask me? I've only talked to him once in my life. And so Katie had seen John like later that week and he never came up to her. And so she was getting kind of pretty curious at this point. But on Friday, she saw John in her weightlifting class out of the corner of her eye. And so she was like, oh my goodness, maybe he's going to come up and ask me whatever he wanted to ask me finally. But when she walked by him, he didn't say anything. So she just kind of shrugged it off and went into the weight room and started working out with her friends. But John followed and he put his backpack down where she was working out. And then he started pacing around and she's thinking, should I just go up to him and see what he wants? But she decided not to. And finally, after 20 minutes, he finally got the courage to come up to her and said, Katie, I was wondering if you'd like to go out with me sometime. And Katie was kind of taken aback, and so John, he was like, I know we don't know each other very well. And so Katie said, well, maybe we could just hang out if you'd like to. And so John gave Katie his phone, and she put her number into his phone. And after about 3 days, I think John finally texted Katie, and she was starting to get worried that he wasn't going to text her at all. But in retrospect, it gave Katie a lot of time to pray about it and think if this was something that was worth pursuing. She knew that like God put John into her life, and she didn't want to just pass it off like it wasn't anything. And so after 3 days, he texted her, and she decided they would hang out and everything. And then a month later, John asked Katie to be his girlfriend, and this was a year ago. And so now, a year later, they're about to celebrate their first year anniversary, and they're incredibly happy and everything. And so, as Christians, it's just amazing to see what God does in people's lives and how I mean, Katie didn't know John at all, and John couldn't have known Katie really. And so, just like trusting in what God wants for your lives, and just knowing that He knows what's best for you. And so, God, I pray that as we go throughout our lives, we can really trust that you do know what's best and that you want what's best for us. And I pray that you give us faith to just do whatever you ask us, Lord. And I know that in the end that it'll be the best. Thank you for everything you do. Amen.